The first thing Daniel Reed noticed was the black SUV. It was parked across from his small house at 2:13 in the morning, its headlights off. The second thing he noticed was Emma standing barefoot on his front porch, crying. And the third thing made his stomach drop. She whispered, "Daniel, please don't tell my father where I am." Before he could answer, 3 more vehicles turned onto the quiet street. Daniel stepped outside and locked the door behind him. For 8 months, Emma had been nothing more than his shy college tenant. At least, that was what he thought. Daniel was 39, a widowed father raising his 10-year-old daughter, Lily, in a small blue house outside Portland. During the day, he worked long shifts repairing city buses. At night, he fixed leaking faucets, checked Lily's homework, and tried to stretch every dollar until Friday. After his wife died 4 years earlier, money had become a constant calculation. So when Lily suggested renting out the spare room upstairs, Daniel laughed. "Who'd want to live with us?" Emma did. She arrived with 1 suitcase, a backpack, and a nervous smile. She said she had transferred to a nearby college and needed somewhere quiet to stay. Daniel expected questions about the old house, the worn kitchen cabinets, and Lily's habit of leaving socks everywhere. Emma asked only one thing. "Would it be okay if I paid rent in cash?" Daniel shrugged. "As long as it spends." She smiled. That was how she became part of their strange little household. Emma was quiet but kind. She made tea when Daniel came home exhausted. She helped Lily study for science tests. She never complained when the hot water took too long or when Daniel accidentally burned dinner. But there were things that never quite made sense. Sometimes Emma disappeared for weekends without explanation. Sometimes expensive cars waited down the street, but Emma always walked past them and caught the bus. And once, Daniel found her sitting alone in the garage, staring at an old photograph of his wife. "You miss her?" she asked. "Every day." Emma looked down. "I think missing someone while they're still alive might be worse." Daniel remembered that sentence for weeks. Then came the first real problem. Lily's school announced a 3-day science camp. She had wanted to go for months, but the fee was more than Daniel could manage after his truck needed repairs. That evening, Lily quietly removed the camp permission slip from the refrigerator. "I don't really like camping anyway," she said. Daniel knew she was lying. The next morning, an envelope appeared on the kitchen table. Inside was exactly enough money for the trip. No note. Daniel immediately suspected Emma. She denied it. "I didn't put it there." He believed her. But Lily didn't. "Maybe the house has a money fairy," she whispered. For the first time in months, Daniel laughed. Lily went to camp. Emma watched the school bus disappear and looked strangely happy. Then, 2 weeks later, Daniel received a letter from his landlord. The house was being sold. He had 60 days to leave. Daniel read the letter twice. Emma found him sitting at the kitchen table long after Lily had gone to bed. "What happened?" He handed her the paper. She read it silently, then asked, "Where will you go?" Daniel forced a smile. "Somewhere." But there was nowhere. Rent had risen everywhere. His savings were thin. Buying anything was impossible. For the next few weeks, Daniel searched every evening. Rejections piled up. One apartment was too expensive. Another required a deposit he didn't have. Then Emma suddenly offered to move out. "You shouldn't have to worry about finding a place for me too," she said. Daniel looked at her. "You're not the problem, Emma." She hesitated. "You don't know what I am." Daniel frowned. "You're a college student who forgets to eat breakfast and leaves library books in the bathroom." For a moment, Emma almost smiled, but her eyes filled with tears. 3 days later, she was gone. Her room was empty. No goodbye, only a small note on the desk. "Thank you for letting me feel normal." Daniel read it over and over. Then he became angry. Not because she left. Because, somehow, he had started thinking of her as family. 2 weeks passed. Then Daniel received a phone call at work. His landlord had changed his mind. The sale was canceled. Daniel was confused until the landlord added, "Someone bought the property and instructed me to renew your lease at the same rate." "Who?" "I'm not allowed to say." Daniel hung up with a knot in his chest. That night, he drove straight to the address written on Emma's college registration form. There was no apartment, no dorm, only the headquarters of a massive private investment company. A security guard took one look at Emma's name and immediately made a call. 10 minutes later, Daniel was standing inside an enormous glass office. Emma stood by the window, but she wasn't wearing jeans and an oversized sweater. She wore a simple dark business suit. Beside her stood an older man with silver hair, his face tight with anger and worry. Daniel recognized him instantly. Every business magazine in the country had printed his photograph. Charles Vale, billionaire investor. And Emma's father. Only daughter. Daniel turned toward her. You lied to me. Emma's face crumpled. I lied about who my father was. Not about everything else. Charles stepped forward. She disappeared after an argument. No security. No assistance. She changed her name. Daniel looked at Emma. She ran away? I needed to know if anyone could care about me without caring about my last name. The room fell silent. Daniel's anger softened, but only slightly. You could have told us. I know. Then Charles placed a folder on the desk. Inside were papers showing that Daniel's house had been purchased through one of his companies. Daniel looked up sharply. No. Emma stepped closer. I didn't buy your life, Daniel. I just stopped you from losing your home. You should have asked me. I know that too. That was the problem. She knew. And still, she had done it because fear had convinced her that money was the only way she knew how to help. Daniel closed the folder. Then sell it. Emma's eyes widened. Daniel, or let me pay fair rent. I appreciate what you tried to do. But Lily and I can't live inside a favor we never agreed to. For the first time, Charles Vale looked impressed. Emma slowly nodded. And then something unexpected happened. She smiled. Not the careful smile of a billionaire's daughter. The real one. You're still going to let me visit Lily, right? Daniel looked toward the door. You left your science books in the bathroom. Emma laughed through her tears. 3 months later, Emma returned, not as a tenant, but as a guest. She had reconciled with her father, though slowly. Charles was learning that protecting his daughter and controlling her were not the same thing. And Emma was learning something too. Money could provide a house, but it could not create a home. One Sunday afternoon, Lily sat between Daniel and Emma on the front porch, showing them a school project. Emma looked at the old blue house and quietly said, "This is the first place where nobody needed anything from me." Daniel glanced at her. "That's not true." She looked confused. He smiled. "We needed you to take your dishes upstairs." Emma laughed so loudly that Lily joined in. And for a moment, there was no billionaire, no mechanic, no inheritance, no secret identity. Just 3 people who had found each other by accident. Because sometimes the greatest gift you can give someone isn't money, rescue, or answers. Sometimes it is simply a place where they are allowed to be loved without having to prove who they are.